Hello and welcome to the Agenda on Politics Social. I'm Graham Hughes, and we have, as always, Phil Morehouse in the house. How you doing, Phil? You all right?
Hello, I'm fine, yes.
The different buyers fame. If anyone wants to join in with the chat, we've got Martin Harrow in there. We've got Gallifrey and Ren. We've got Diz and Viper Scott and Chris C. If you'd like to join them in the chat, all you need to do is hit the subscribe button and wait for approximately 1 minute, and then you will be very welcome to be in the chat. But don't be a troll, or we will mute you and boot you. Okay, so Phil, first thing on the agenda today, Andy Burnham. Andy, so Andrew Gwynn, the Labour MP for Gorton, is it?
Former Labour MP, but yeah.
Yeah, he's stepping down as an MP because he had a private WhatsApp group in which he said, "Fuck your bins."
Well, he basically wished. We had one Labour MP who punched a constituent. This one wished one dead. And I don't know the context. Maybe it was intended for private consumption. Maybe it was one of those stupid jokes. But as I keep saying, if you're a politician, particularly an MP, you have to treat everything you do and say, no matter how private you think it is, think to yourself, would I want this reported on? If the answer is no, don't bloody well do or say it.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, that's just the rule of being an MP. You know, if you don't like it, don't be an MP.
Yeah. Oh, we got a super chat already from Goose Springsteen. Hello, Goose. If not stopped from running by the NEC, Burnham's very likely to win the contested seat. Could a looming by-election push others like Streeting to make a move against Starmer earlier than May? No. Okay, well let's get straight into it. No pussyfooting around. Okay. So I know how your attitude towards Andy Burnham. Do you think that this will be a disaster for Labour if he did get it? I know it's going to be a bit of a
It depends. If he were to actually replace Starmer, that might not be a disaster. Any other outcome is a disaster because there's a cost to this. There's a cost to him even getting himself into Parliament. So consider the cost, first of all. So first of all, Starmer should not, people need to privately tell, because McSweeney's behind moves to block him. They shouldn't do that. Now, here's the thing. From their point of view, they will think to themselves that the damage to Labour will be immense. They'll think two things. I did this on my stream earlier. First of all, that the damage to Labour will be immense, which it will. There will be, no matter what happens, there'll be huge damage done to Labour by Burnham, even going into Parliament, even if he doesn't replace Starmer, even if Starmer stays as leader, whatever, it doesn't matter. But the other huge problem here is Andy Burnham doesn't have a plan to lead the country. And that's not me saying that he's not a serious person. He can't have a plan. It's not possible to have a plan. National strategies take years and lots of resources. Labour have spent years developing theirs. So the best that Andy Burnham could do to lead the country is to take up the plans that already exist.
Yeah.
And try to implement them. But he doesn't know what they are. He knows them to the same extent I do. I mean, he's read documents like I have, but he wasn't there as they were being developed. So someone like Wes Streeting or Angela Rayner or Ed Miliband, they could, because they've been part of all that planning. They understand the strategies. They were all part of them. Andy Burnham's not, and there's no way he could, and there's no way he can develop a strategy. So from Starmer's point of view, he's not doing this out of arrogance. I think there will be an arrogance there. It's a really bad move. But from his point of view, he'll be thinking, no, Andy Burnham cannot possibly have a plan. This would be a disaster. But he shouldn't block him. But then, so if he's not blocked, if Andy Burnham isn't blocked, there are multiple shitstorms coming. And you might dodge the odd one, but you won't dodge all of them because there's so many. First one, I actually do think Andy Burnham would win the seat. Because, first of all, he's personally popular. Second, not just in that area, just, generally. Secondly, I actually think they'll attract some votes from people who want to see. They'll attract votes from people who want Labour to succeed and not. Like, you'll even get Conservative voters, I bet, voting for Burnham because he's going to cause trouble for Starmer, right? So Andy Burnham, I think, would be very, very likely to win the seat. But here's the thing. Again, from the blocking it, there's loads of reasons why Starmer should not block it.
Okay, and before we go into the reasons, Goose Springsteen has dropped another £10 in. Thank you very much for that, Goose. Due to an existing gender imbalance amongst Labour MPs and an all-women shortlist could opportunistically be used strategically to exclude male candidates, including Burnham. But that would cause a lot of drama.
Yeah. It's less aggressive than just saying we're just going to block you, Andy, but anyone else can stand. But it's still, everyone would know it's bullshit. It wouldn't, like, you might get away with it if the MP that was standing down were a woman, but you won't get away because why wasn't, so no, you wouldn't get that. But the reason why this could go badly wrong for Starmer is multiple reasons. First of all, it could actually just create a schism. He will look weak. Like, why would he block Burnham? Why? Right? There's all sorts of justifications, and I'll go through some of them. There are genuine justifications, but they're not good enough justifications. Why would he block them? Because he fears political assassination. So he's in a weak position, and he recognises weak. It's very, and it will look weak to the country. Everyone else, literally everyone else, will just accuse him of pulling up the drawbridge because he feels threatened, and that's exactly what will be happening. But another thing that can go wrong, imagine if he is blocked. So Labour run that by-election with a different candidate and they lose to Reform UK.
Yes.
That would be curtains for Starmer, surely, because he will look like his arrogance has sabotaged Labour.
Yeah.
And get gifted Reform UK.
Well, as Dizzy said in the chat, they're damned if they do, damned if they don't.
No, they're not damned if they do. Starmer should do nothing. Let him, if he wants to stand, let him stand. But at the end of the day, if you're going to be a leader, if you're going to be able to be a tough leader, you've got to be able to allow Andy Burnham into Parliament and just face him down. Andy Burnham could actually screw himself over if you let him, right? Let's imagine. So let's say he's not blocked. For whatever reason, he's not blocked. Okay. So he stands, he wins the seat. Great. Yeah. There now has to be an election for the mayoral seat. Now, what if Reform UK win that? Andy Burnham will be the one who has screwed Labour for his own ego.
Yeah.
Do you really? I'm not convinced a lot of people in Labour would want Andy Burnham to be the leader when that's the start to his, he's basically just screwed Manchester.
Yeah.
As well as given Reform UK a huge. So then it goes from Starmer doing that to Burnham doing that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that Reform UK would win that mayoral seat. I don't know, but it's a risk. So if that happens straight away, as far as I'm, at that point, Andy Burnham could have completely screwed his chances from the start, because then a load of Labour MPs would be royally pissed off with him. A load of people in Labour would be royally pissed off with him. So then after that, so he's in Parliament. He still has to, he will be happy to trigger the challenge. Does he have enough support within Parliament to do it? We don't know that. Well, he may not.
This is the thing. I don't think he should come in all guns blazing as soon as he's elected as an MP, if he does get elected, and then put a leadership challenge in. I think he should buy this time. I think he should give it a year or maybe even 2 years to allow all this shit, because what they want to do is what the Tories did in 2019. At the last minute, change the fucking leader and go, we're a whole new party now, nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
That's what they did to Theresa May,
100%.
and they won the election, hands down.
The problem is, you could, when the Tories did that with Boris Johnson, they weren't doing it 6 months before an election. It was 6 months before the election, but that's not what they were doing. They were just getting rid of him when they were just crashed in the polls.
Yes.
Which they didn't know. The general election might have still been 2.5 years away from their point of view.
Right. Yeah, okay, fair enough. But, they didn't know when the election, well, they wanted an election as soon as Boris Johnson got in. He said, go on.
They didn't have the power to do it. It was only like Lib Dems and SNP at first, and then Labour being stupid enough to give him one.
Just one before we go on. Goose Springsteen, another £10 to be. That's very generous of you today, Goose. A few months ago on Times Radio, Tim Montgomery said Refuck have done internal polling that identified Burnham as the prospective Labour leader who would be best to appeal to Reform's voter base. Yeah, like I said. And the thing is, whether you like this or not, I know we don't live in a presidential system, but people, they're going to slag off what the Tories did in the 1980s. They don't talk about the Conservative Party. They talk about Thatcher. They want to
Yeah.
slag off what
They do,
Labour
yeah.
did going into
Yeah.
the Iraq War. They don't talk about Labour taking us into the
No.
Iraq War and all the other parties, by the way. But they talk about Tony Blair. They put
Yeah.
it all on him. So that's who Starmer's got to be
Yeah,
now.
the leader is absolutely, yes, you're right. We don't have a presidential system, but people behave as if we do quite often.
People say, who are you voting for, right, on these Vox
Yeah.
Pops, and they'll
Yeah.
say Farage.
Yeah.
Because they don't even know the name of the party. They don't care. It doesn't matter to them. They're voting for Nigel Farage.
Well, do you know what? Those people, I don't mind if they go down and try and find a Nigel Farage on the ballot box. It can only go wrong in Clacton. And Clacton's gone wrong a long time ago. So yeah, but that's just one hurdle. Like the next problem. So the other thing that definitely, so we don't know whether the mayoral election would go to Labour or Reform UK. If it goes to Reform UK, Burnham has royally screwed up. That'll be Burnham's fault, not Starmer's fault.
Do you think there's a chance of that happening?
Yes.
A very good chance.
I don't know.
Because
there's no
Manchester
accurate
City,
polling on it.
Actual Manchester
it's not
City,
Manchester City.
but
not
it's the region.
It's Greater Manchester.
Yeah, I know.
So,
and that's the worry. It includes
there's a lot of rural
some
parts of it.
god-awful places. Yeah. You know, Grim up north. We're allowed to say that because we're from the north. It's down south to me.
But there's other problems as well. So some of the justifications that are already coming out. Right. So you're going to have that election for, frankly, this by-election is not welcomed by Starmer, but he can't do anything about it. But then you've got a mayoral election to fight. That's going to cost a lot of money. It's a big election.
Yeah,
and they're not flush with funds, and they've got really key elections coming up all over the place this May as well. It's going to divert resources. It's going to divert all sorts of things that could actually make it harder for Labour. You know, Labour's results could be worse this May as a result of this. Yeah. You know, as a result of the potential by-election, then mayoral election, because of the splitting of resources. It makes it, because Reform UK, remember, have just had £9 million given to them, so they're flush. Yeah. Labour are not. Yeah. So that's a big issue. But even if you get past all that and Labour win that thing, and it's like, okay, fine, and the results this May are whatever they are, so he gets into Parliament. As soon as Andy Burnham throws his hat into the ring, whether he's blocked or not, from that moment, if he announces it today, tomorrow's headlines will all be about Starmer's days are numbered. There might even be the odd sneaky picture of a lettuce there. I don't think they'll be numbered that badly, but they will be. They'll say they're numbered, and do you know what? The press will run with that. That will be the big political scandal of our time. They'll use it to, whenever there's some news that the Tory press would rather not talk about, they'll just wheel that out. How long till Starmer's got? Because they know that Andy Burnham isn't going to Parliament to be a backbencher or even a cabinet minister. He's going there to be Prime Minister. Everyone knows that. It's obvious. No point in even denying it. I mean, what's Andy Burnham even going to say when he's asked? Oh yeah, I just fancy being a backbencher again. Bollocks.
It's so difficult, this, isn't it? I mean,
yeah. So the
many
headlines.
Risks.
Well, that's not even a risk. That's certain. There will be very damaging headlines for Labour. Labour will look like a party in chaos. It'll make no difference whether there's a leadership election or not. They'll just be in a constant state of chaos because of that. People will just assume it's coming. So from the moment Burnham even announces he's standing to the moment where he is made Prime Minister, if that's what happens, you'll just get these negative headlines, and Starmer will just be undermined constantly. And then imagine, so that will be definite damage. Then there might also be the damage of Reform UK becoming Mayor of Manchester. Sorry. Then imagine that the leadership contest happens and Burnham doesn't win. Then he's done all that damage for nothing.
Yeah. And so, that happens if so say he goes in to Parliament. And then they have the mayoral election, which is going to be really expensive. This is one of the three things that the NEC are saying. They're talking about, you know, the fact that it could be an all-woman shortlist, it could be an all-BAME shortlist, it could be, you say, it's, you know, procedural objections.
All of it will be bullshit.
Because
they
of
know
the fact
it will be
trigger
obvious
an
bullshit.
early mayoral election. But if he steps down as mayor, becomes an MP, launches a challenge against Starmer, and the mayor's gone to refuck, there's a very, very good chance he'll lose.
If I was
pissed off with him.
Because I mean, I'll be honest, I'm someone who I accept that Starmer cannot lead them into the next election. He's a dead weight at the moment, politically speaking. It's like I'm perfectly happy with a lot of what they're doing in government, but and he is good on the world stage. But that's because he's getting better advice. It shows that he could be fine domestically. If he had the same quality of advice domestically as he's getting internationally, he'd be fine. But he's not. He's not getting it, and he's denied. He had a golden opportunity to get rid of McSweeney when he attacked West Streeting, didn't take it. So he does need replacing. And in all honesty, Burnham may be the least risky. It's just that if Burnham was already in Parliament, I would probably say, do you know what? He's the least risky. Why not? Why not? I don't like him, but it doesn't matter. I don't have to like him. I don't like Starmer. I don't know him.
Worst case scenario, like this could be the end of not just Labour in having the Metro Mayor position in Manchester, but this could lead them into a disaster in the next election.
Yeah, it could. Like, there is an outcome. It's not certain. I mean, Andy Burnham could save them. He could become leader. He could professionalise their comms. He could, be much more effective against Reform UK. Could win the next election. Hurrah!
Yeah.
Or he could hand Reform UK first Manchester and then the UK. Yeah. And we don't know which. We absolutely don't know which. But in order for it to work out, multiple things have to happen. First of all, Burnham has to win the by-election. Labour have to win the mayoral election, because otherwise I really don't see, Burnham having a good start at this. There has to be a leadership contest against Labour, and Burnham has to win it. Otherwise, it's all wasted up to this point. He has to. He does have to sort their comms out. He has to not start a war with America, and he has to win the next election. If any of those things don't happen, then it was a complete. He will definitely cause damage to Labour. The damage won't be worth it unless all of those things happen.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And that's why it will be really easy for people around Starmer to justify blocking him, but they really mustn't.
Amy Walker, thank you very much for the £5 super chat there. Seat he's going for had Labour on 18,500 and Refuck second place and 5,100 last year. Ridiculously safe seat, always has been. Although recent polling does look like it is competitive now. But I mean, that's just across the board for Labour seats, because the general public has not got a very positive view of the Labour Party in government, because they haven't showered themselves in glory with,
Is it Gorton and Denton?
Yeah, with a dozen bloody
Let me just double check.
U-turns or partial turns. Partial turns, not great. Refuck got 14% of the vote in 2024.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that at all. The polling has Reform UK are now on double the vote share nationally, so I wouldn't worry about that. What I would say is, so in that I always go to this September MRP because it's the closest we've got to any sort of. It does give Labour the nod still.
Yeah.
Significantly as well. So it looks safe. But I would say, even if it was a bit tight, it looks a lot tighter than it did in 2024. But it still looks safe for Labour. I would also say there will be a pull factor with Burnham. If Burnham stands for
Burnham stands, he'll get it.
I think he will be a shoo-in. If anyone else stands, then it's a bit more squeaky bum. And Labour will have to throw the kitchen sink at it. They cannot afford to do what happened in Runcorn, where they didn't really put much effort in at all and lost by 6 bastard votes.
Yeah.
How stupid was that?
Starmer didn't even go to Runcorn. God, he's made so many mistakes.
No one did.
Unforced errors.
I know Angela Rayner did a week before, but no one did in those last crucial 48 hours. There was no effort. There was obviously local, there was effort. I'm not dissing, but there was no national effort.
Yeah.
Well, 6 votes. You could have gone to the pub and just counted a few bullshit things and just said, no, hang on, that's not true, that's not true. And you'd have got your bloody win.
Yeah.
Win by 1 vote, doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Win's a win. And we wouldn't have had Sarah Bastard Poaching in Parliament.
A privately educated posh potion who doesn't like seeing black faces on the television.
No, indeed.
She'd probably like to see black face on the television because she's a massive fucking racist. Anyway, but the thing is, there's we haven't heard any statement from Andy Burnham that I've heard so far, or from his camp. This is all
in all honesty, they'll be thinking about it because we work on the assumption he's not trying to screw Labour over, he's trying to help. He does have to think about the consequences. Like if he is first thing he'll have to think to himself, if he is going to get blocked, and although he can be rightfully outraged if he is, he does have to think, if he tries to stand and gets blocked, that still does damage to Labour. And sure, that's Starmer's fault, but that is still damage to Labour.
Yeah.
So he may have to think to himself, can I get myself on the ballot? And if he can't, he may well, although, it might offend sensibilities, he may well decide that the best thing for the party, if it's a fait accompli anyway, is to not shit stir, basically.
Yeah. Well, when does his term as mayor run out? Is it 28?
I can't remember offhand.
Well, anyway, so yes, I want to move on a little bit and talk about local elections because they're sexy. So there's a bunch of local elections that have been cancelled this year on the grounds that, as I've been told, I don't know if this is right, they're redrawing all the boundaries next year, so they're all going to have be re-elected next year. Elections cost money. This is a local election that only 30% of the population ever take part in anyway. What's the point of having elections this year when you're just going to have to do it again next year when they redraw the boundaries? And there's in the newspapers they've had the Starmer's afraid of democracy. He's afraid of. But in the newspapers today, there's at least 2 Tory-controlled councils that are abandoning their elections. So it's not just Labour;
no, it's not.
All the councils as well. What's your take on this?
So it is wasteful if you'd have to have an election next year anyway. But I am going to get to the point. There's so many councils doing this now, and I suppose it was inevitable. And the media are taking the line they are. I'd actually almost just say, well, fuck it, we'll just find some extra money, because the media are making it look like a really bad move, and they're making it look like it's late. When the government haven't cancelled any elections or even delayed elections, they've all come from requests from those local authorities.
Yeah.
And Labour, the government are just giving them permission.
Yeah.
But I would just say at this point, if it was just last year, I would have said, look, it's one of those things. But given that it's this year as well, I can understand how someone in the public can be thinking it's a bad look. And I would just be thinking, just find the money. Just maybe find some. How much would it cost? I would find how much would it cost for central government to sort of cover it, because this is as a result of central government plans to streamline democracy, local democracy.
Yeah.
So maybe they should just find some central funds to cover it if you have to have a re-election. As not for by-elections. If it's by-elections or something because Reform UK wanker wins a seat and didn't mean to and then has to resign the next day, let them sort that out themselves. But if it's caused specifically because of the reorganisation, maybe we should find central funds and say, well, let's just have it. It is too late now. Yes, it is far too late now. But maybe, given the scale of it and it's going into a second year, maybe that would have been better.
Do you know what else as well? Right, here's the thought. It would have cost refuck money. And I know that Labour aren't interested in stopping refuck from taking money from random gun runners from Thailand, because why would you want to just stop someone who I don't know pays for landmines?
They are passing legislation. They just haven't done
Ukraine
it yet.
To are they doing that? Are they going to bring that in?
Yes.
And what's going to be the law? What's going to be the rule?
Well, until they've published it fully, we shouldn't know. But it's the money would have to be sort of based in the UK, as I understand it, and I can't remember some of the details. But again, we're going to have to wait to the details. But put it this way: they don't want even British citizens abroad donating to Reform UK.
Yeah. But also second jobs. I mean, Nigel Farage this week got found 17 breaches. Yeah. 17 breaches for a sum of over £300,000. The easiest way is parliamentary salary.
I've said this before as well. The easiest way is just if there's certain jobs you can't target, at least target the pay. Say you're not allowed. Say anything you earn, any penny from interest or anything that's not your MP's salary is going to be taxed at 100%.
Yeah.
Just tax it at 100%.
Yeah.
And then it's like saying, so even if you get this money, any money earned then while you're a parliamentarian is just going to go straight to HMRC.
That would absolutely fuck Farage.
Yeah.
Because he's got a lifestyle that costs him £1 million a month because he gets that, Like if they snap that off, he cannot survive on 90 grand a year. He just can't for his lifestyle. He's a private jet.
Well, I mean, you never know. What's his face,
mate?
mate? Aaron Banks may fund him again, like he did.
Yeah, but he won't be able to if you lock it down and say they're not allowed to give money in that way.
Well, he would just Banks would just pay for his bills for him.
It's a loan.
Yeah, they'd pay his bills for him.
Goose Springsteen, thank you very much, Goose. You've been incredibly kind today, incredibly generous. On local elections, a lot of Labour Tory councils seem to be using it as an excuse to keep their job for an extra year. Turkeys don't vote for Christmas. More than 4 million people won't get a vote. Yeah, but you don't get paid for being a councillor. It's not.
No. But there is still an argument. And again, this is how it can look to the public.
You get £6 grand in expenses.
If they think they're going to lose, it's not about the money for a lot of councillors. It's about, having their party in local government. So there is a compelling argument that although you can't just ask the government, can we delay it because of there has to be a local reorganisation going on. But you can understand that maybe some of them are doing it because they don't fancy their chances.
Yeah.
Again, it's one of those, it's done now. So, but yeah, it's not ideal.
It's really not. Okay, next topic. The Labour and Conservatives are coming together to say fuck Trump.
Literally.
So tell us more, Phil. What's going down?
So basically, what's happened with Trump is I don't believe he would commit America to the defense of a NATO ally if it was attacked by Russia. I don't think. Let's say Russia invaded Finland.
Yeah.
I don't know whether Congress would, but I don't think Trump would order defense of Finland. So, and because we sort of suspect this, Trump's trying to justify it. And he tried to justify it by saying, well, you wouldn't come to our aid. And everyone pointed out, hang on a minute, there's only been one time in NATO's history where anyone asked for aid, and it was you, and we did. In Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So then, because he's a fucking child, he has to think, he can't go, oh yeah, fair enough. So his worldview is his worldview. So he has to try and warp the facts. So then he can't deny the fact that literally everyone from NATO's committed troops to fighting alongside the US in Afghanistan. So he has to say, well, you're quite a bit behind the front lines, which has triggered a massive backlash. I assume from every NATO country, because they've all, Denmark, for example, Danish soldiers died in Afghanistan, but hundreds of British soldiers died as well as many more suffering life-limiting injuries.
Yeah.
So there's been a bit of a backlash, including from the Tories, like Kemi Badenoch herself. This isn't even the best one, but Kemi Badenoch, usually what happens in politics, like when you need to criticize the US government, you don't openly criticize them. You just express the counter view and let people read between the lines.
Yeah.
But she said, Trump saying NATO allies weren't on the front line. This is her word for word. Trump saying, not President Trump, Trump saying NATO allies weren't on the front line in Afghanistan is flat out nonsense. British, Canadian and NATO troops fought and died alongside the US for 20 years. That is a fact, not opinion. Their sacrifice deserves respect, not denigration. This is the woman who at the start of the week was off in America whispering in Trump's ear about the Chagas Islands. She did a Farage. She went to America in order to try and get a foreign government to shit on UK national interest.
She physically went to America this week.
She went to America. She met with Mike Johnson. The reports say that she brought up the Chagas Islands thing, and then obviously he then talked to Trump. No,
but didn't he come over here, Mike Johnson?
Or well, they met anyway. Yeah. They met, shall we say. But nonetheless, that's what she'd apparently told him.
Yeah.
She'd told him to sort of stitch Starmer up on Chagos. She'd probably told him, oh, he'll have to back down. You'll get him. So she's basically, and this is going against UK national interest, because she can't even claim, oh, no, but the Conservatives believe it's in the UK national interest not to have the Chagos. Her government, the Conservative government, negotiated that deal.
Yeah, it was their deal.
Labour literally just finished off the dotting the I's and crossing the T's.
Yeah.
So she's literally tried to invoke a foreign government to shit on UK national interest, which is basically treason. That's what she was doing at the start of the year. Now she's saying this, but it gets even better. So there's like a couple of really interesting comments here from Tory MPs. Like one of them, Simon Hoare. So he's not one of the front bench, so he can be honest, right? He doesn't have to toe the party line as such. You usually do because you don't want to like cause embarrassment to your own leadership. But Simon Hoare says, frankly, Trump makes my flesh creep and my stomach turn. Where are his advisors? Where is his nurse?
Who said that?
Simon Hoare. Now, he can say that.
He's a Tory MP, isn't he?
He's a Tory MP, but he's like a chair of a select committee. He's not a front bencher.
But he's former services himself, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's why he's getting.
But the next one, this one is a shadow minister. Let me read. I've got the tweet in front of me.
Oh wow.
Ben Spence, I don't really know him, is a shadow science minister. But shadow minister means he's not supposed to talk out of turn. So if he says it, it's in line with Conservative Party policy, unless there's something in the news saying he's getting the right dressing down right now. This is what he said. It's really quite spectacular. The US president has gone from insulting and threatening NATO allies to insulting and demeaning the brave men and women of our armed forces. 457 British service personnel died in Afghanistan, with UK troops having served alongside US troops and those from over 50 coalition nations. We will always remember them. In a country renowned for its respect for servicemen and women, it is astounding and shameful that the US president to show such contempt for the service of others. Now, big one. We have to question the strength of any relationship, special or otherwise, with someone who could treat their sacrifice with such disrespect. So I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, hang on a minute. The Conservatives here are saying that we have to question our relationship with America. That's a bit of a fucking turnaround.
Yeah, I know.
Even Labour ain't gone that far.
He's right, though. He's not wrong.
He is right.
You know?
But it's not the sort of thing you would expect.
He's a Tory, but
he's
say. Right. I don't like saying that. Hey, listen, before we go on, I've had a message from our friend Rachel, who's asked very politely if we would share this from the Good Law Project. It's about Sex Matters, which is a transphobic organisation. They're trying to infiltrate the Council of Europe in the week before the Council of Europe votes on the banning of conversion therapy across the continent. So if you could have a look at that, it'll only take you 5 minutes. It's not a petition. It'll send an email to your to Baroness Chakrabarti to say, I care about this and you need to do something about it. So the link is in the chat there. So if you would do that for us, that would be amazing. But yeah, so like this is kind of good for Starmer, isn't it? Because they can't dial this back now. They've said it. The dam is broken. They've said he's
well,
no
the
good.
thing is, it was said.
It can be fair to this.
Earlier this month, there was these little, like you get these little off the record briefings from 10 Downing Street, where they're not ready to go public with something yet, but they're quite happy for journalists to know about it and report on it. And they were saying that Starmer knows at some point he is going to have to really stick it to Trump. There's going to come a point. They didn't think it was there yet. It still might not be quite there yet. Although, ironically, because of Badenoch's handiwork this week with the Chagos Islands thing, if she thought that she would embarrass Starmer, she did the reverse, because she actually had Starmer calling Trump out specifically in PMQs, and more than that, calling her out for siding with him on this particular issue.
Yeah.
So she may not have expected that one. And she may not have expected that on Friday she'd be calling Donald Trump a dickhead. I don't think that's the actual.
But that's the prevailing attitude of most Brits, even the ones on the right. Apart,
well, I haven't heard Nigel Farage say anything.
Oh no, of course he won't. Of course he won't. He doesn't give a shit about.
Well, he's going to have to.
Ex-service personnel.
He'll be working out. He'll be furiously ringing his contacts in the White House to find out what he's allowed to say. No, the Kremlin will be loving it. They're loving this. But let me just see. Let's see if he's tweeted anything today. I will always engage with the business community in Clacton. He's got to go to Clacton, first of all. This is 4 hours ago. No, he's not got any comment on the NATO comment. Apparently, he'll always engage with the business community in Clacton. I don't know how he does it. He presumably does it by Zoom.
Yeah.
Certainly doesn't engage face-to-face, does he?
No.
But that's all he's got to tweet today. That's his tweet for today so far. Nothing on NATO. He will be working. He'll probably have to say, particularly if this runs. I mean, that reaction from the Tories was pretty pretty bold,
I've
quite
I've just
frankly.
put up a picture from Cold War Steve, and it's
Oh
Donald
yeah, I've seen
Trump
that. Yeah,
pissing on the
yeah,
cenotaph, being applauded by Nigel Farage
yeah.
and Richard Tice and God, what's her name?
Liz
The woman,
Truss,
Liz
Rupert
Truss.
Lowe.
We put like, oh, they're all in there. Lovely. There it
Yeah.
is. There it is for you. So yeah, that picture should just that should be it now for Farage, because
Well,
he's tied himself to Trump, and the more
yes.
shit things that Trump does, it does undermine his attempts to
Do
take
you know
over Britain.
something interesting that came out before this NATO thing as well?
Go ahead.
So More in Common, I think it was, had been doing some. It was only focus group polling. I'd like to see something a bit more in depth, but they were deciding to test out the views of women who were thinking of switching their vote from Labour to Reform UK. So that's a key voting group. And what they were finding from this group of women, this was in like Stevenage, a bit north of London, is so they're thinking of going from Labour to Reform UK. But one of the things that's really badly putting them off is Nigel Farage's close association with Donald Trump. So there's starting to be a little bit of cut through in this. And you think to yourself how much Donald Trump was never popular in this country. I don't know what he was like as a media personality, but as a politician, he was never popular.
No, I don't think he was popular as a media personality. We didn't have him doing The Apprentice. It's Alan Sugar over here,
but people knew
and
he
comes
was.
across as this rude, bombastic, boorish, rich, arrogant, tasteless American. He is the personification of everything we secretly think Americans are like.
But either way, he's never been popular as president in this country.
No.
Even amongst conservatives. And, his popularity, he's carrying out a number of things now that are going to actively make him much less popular. So, we are, and this is the first sign. It's only a small sign. I'd like to see more than focus group polling, but it is a sign that it is starting to weigh on people's decisions of Reform UK, because Reform UK, I mean, imagine a scenario where at the next general election, Donald Trump is stunningly unpopular and MAGA themselves are.
Yeah.
Nigel Farage, remember, by the time of the election, we're going to have had at least 2 years of basically zero checks on food exports to the EU. So farmers are going to like that. He's going to go into that election promising to wreck that deal.
Yep.
He's going to go into the election promising to do to Britain what Trump's done to America.
Yep. He wants ICE. He wants ICE. He wants men with guns shooting 37-year-old Christian white mothers in the face in point blank range for looking at them funny.
Yeah.
Like he wants to copy and paste it. He did it with DOGE. He said, we'll bring those DOGE cuts, we'll bring them over here. Have they cut it? Have they fuck all of the constituency, all of the counties that are councils that are run by Refuck are putting up council tax. All of them, every single one.
The Durham one's particularly good because they're putting theirs up by 10%, which is double the normal usually allowed rate. Now, the thing is, I don't know the ins and outs. So Reform UK, I found a little article from Durham, local news article.
Can put a pin in that for 1 second because Spooky Saga's been sitting there for an hour waiting for me to acknowledge the super chat. Thank you very much. The way I see it, it's certain defeat with Starmer or roll the dice with Andy Burnham, who has the best chance to turn the ship around. I kind of agree to a certain extent, but I just don't think that now is the time to do it. It's timing.
Well, I don't know. I don't know that now actually might be a good time. I don't know. But it's not as simple as that either, because it's not like Andy Burnham's the only credible choice. He might be the least risky choice if it weren't for all the collateral damage he'll cause. There are other credible choices. Yeah. It's also not certain that Starmer would lose the next election. I just think it's fucking likely. Don't know. Who'd be a Labour MP right now?
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, no, we're going to talk about Durham County Council. By the way, it's a 3.1% increase. They have managed to avoid the 5% rise, but they are removing 100% of the council tax reductions for low earners. Yes, so actually, for low earners, their council tax is going to go up massively as a result of what they're doing.
Here's the thing. They said... Right. So they said, we didn't get enough from the central grant. We didn't get enough from the central grant. But my argument there is twofold. First of all, they got more from Labour than they did under the Conservatives. So if they went into that election promising council tax cuts, they had to have been basing it on the finances at the time, didn't they?
Yeah.
So Labour were actually more generous in terms of central funding than the Conservatives had been. So why have they had to raise taxes at all when they promised to cut them? And the second thing is they also said, oh, I'm going to make you, the way you've worked this out, it assumes we're going to raise these taxes by like 5%. It's like, well, you're raising them by 10%.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter that that's not to everyone. The people who can least afford it, you're raising it by 10%. And it's the people who can least afford it who are more likely to vote for Reform UK for that council tax cut.
Well, you say that,
Yeah.
but I've spoken to some real fucking dickheads around here who are
Yeah,
like, yeah, refund.
But they would have done that
There's
anyway.
a Trump
but
flag. There's a Trump
reason.
flag near me.
I dare say there is.
A Trump flag.
But they made that as one of their key promises. It was on all the flyers. So why make it if you don't think it's going to win your votes? You don't. This is what I keep, what I say about elections. Like when some people think, oh, they're not really, got policies for us. They do have policies for you. They're just not on their leaflets because you've only got room for a few policies on your leaflet. Reform UK, I seem to remember, only had 3. So because of limited bandwidth, you've got to plug up to 5 key election promises. You can't afford to, you might have 100 policies, you can't afford to go over more. So they decided that was a good vote winner. So they arguably won seats on the strength of that promise. And they're more likely to have won votes amongst, who's more likely to vote for council tax cuts? Someone who can't afford the cost of living or someone who's all right but a bit stingy. It's like the person who can't afford it. And they're now getting walloped.
Yeah.
Absolutely walloped.
Just to explain before you started talking, then I was talking about I said 100% off. I meant what I said was low earners had 100% discount on their council tax, and now because of reform from April this year here in Durham, in County Durham, the poorest on the ladder are going to have to pay at least 10% of the tax. So the increase it's not 10%, is it? It's more because if you go from 0
infinity
to anything,
percent,
it's infinity percent. But they are now going to have to pay stuff. So it's going to cost the average family who are really struggling to get by here in former pit villages in the abandoned northeast, abandoned by the Tories. They're not really served very well by the government down in
Another thing as well,
successive governments,
about Nigel Farage. So he's been clobbered this week for making 17 errors on reporting his earnings.
Yes.
17 oversights. Now,
you say clobbered. I mean,
well, no, it's been caught out, shall we say then?
Yeah.
So I would get, do you know what? The first time it happened, I made no big deal of it. I thought, do you know what? He's a brand new MP. Forms, I hate forms. You're bound to make the odd mistake. Loads of MPs make basic mistakes. No one's going to make an issue of it. But 17 is a lot. And here's the thing. His argument is that he's blaming his underling because he said, quote, I don't do computers. So, right, he reckons he can run the country when he can't even run. Computers have been around for decades.
Yeah.
Decades, right? And also, he should be allowed to appoint ministers who will run government departments when he cannot even appoint someone who can fill in a bloody form. He can't recognise competence. So he's bad at hiring people, is what he's saying.
Yes.
And he can't understand basic technology. Why should this man run anything?
I wish he would run away. Take a long run off a short pier. Goose Springsteen, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. I think if Farage was smart, he would come down hard against Trump, but I think he cannot stand to cut off the ego boost the proximity to Trump gives him. Couldn't agree more.
Well, Trump didn't meet him, did he, again?
No.
He went to Davos. I'm going to meet with Trump. I'm going to help Greenland. I'm going to have a meeting with Trump. Didn't meet him.
Donald. And he just walked past. Yeah, brilliant. Viper Scott, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Graham, can you repost that link again or pin it? I have pinned it. I've reposted it and pinned it. Link to stop the transphobes. So that's at the top of the chat. Please tell Rachel Dunn. I will, Saz. Rachel's watching. Hi, Rach. So she'll get that. If a Labour MP had done that, they'd be hounded by the press till they resigned, says Ned.
Yeah, they would. I mean, we know that because that's happened for much less.
Yeah.
I mean, pissing Louise Haig lost her phone once in her 20s and she had to resign.
That is mad, isn't it?
It was
She
mad.
lost her phone in her 20s.
Yeah.
After she was mugged, wasn't she?
Yeah.
So you're going
I
for
mean,
this
what
really
happened
traumatic experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was, even at the time, it was fairly stupid, that one. But there it is. That's your being whiter than white.
Goose Springsteen's with another super chat. Thank you, Goose. A bit of an explanation here. I'm a man with poor impulse control, and it's this or scratch cards. Oh, well, thank you for furnishing us with your super chats rather than the national lottery. Random trivia, but Britain is quite unusual in lacking an anti-American hard right as compared to Europe, seen in France / Germany. An anti-American hard right.
Well, Bardella, for example, has been quite critical of Trump's tariffs in France.
Well, yeah, because
I don't know.
Causing trouble for France.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Whereas in this country, yes, you would certainly argue the Conservatives and Reform UK both. They took more sort of the line of Viktor Orban, who sort of blamed the EU
He blames
for the
it
tariffs in this case.
Yeah.
He actually praised the tariffs.
If he cheats the election this year in Hungary and stays on, they've got to throw them out. They've got to throw Hungary out the EU.
The problem is he could cheat it without cheating, like, because Trump's going to interfere.
Yes.
So what if the election itself is technically free and fair, and it's just American and Russian disinformation that does it? Can't.
Yeah. Gary says, The Apprentice, the show, gave us Trump, Katie Hopkins, Michelle Dewberry, Thomas Skinner, and junior apprentice zombie knife supplier Adam Elaz. Stop it now. Yeah. Well, it's all the private school lot. They all went to fucking private school. What do you expect? And they're just given a platform, and as soon as these people are given platforms, they go crazy. So just stop giving them platforms, Jesus. But yeah, I think in the history, when the history books are written, the TV show that did the most damage to humanity will be the Apprentice. That and Mrs. Brown's Boys, ovs.
No, I still blame Big Brother.
Yeah,
it
well,
persuaded people to sit in a room bored, watching people sat in a room bored.
Well, yeah. At least they do something on the traitors. They do like a team building exercise each day. Although that's the most boring bit. I just like watching them sitting around the table trying to suss out who the baddies are, and the baddies just sitting there like a
I just don't watch television at all. I don't feel I'm missing anything.
Well, you probably aren't. But yeah, so we were talking about the council tax going up. So here in Durham, overall, it's gone up 3.1%. But in other reform councils, the maximum is supposed to be 5%, but they can put in an application to the government, can't they, to say, can we put it up by 10%? Yeah. And they've actually done that. They're consulting on council tax rises of up to 10%. In Worcestershire, they've cancelled a £63 million school and transport upgrade. In West Northamptonshire, the long-term funding gap is projected to be £50 million. And it's just that the DOGE thing was an absolute unmitigated failure. Oh, did you hear about that in the US? The unmitigated failure of DOGE. You know, it was supposed to save, what was it, $2 trillion?
Well, I mean,
it's actually cost them $500 billion. $500 billion or something. Just like loads and loads of money.
Well, quite a lot of. I mean, what was frequently happening is they were sacking a load of people, then trying to frantically rehire them the next week when they realised they needed them. Yeah, that happened quite a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, what we need air traffic controllers? Shit, better get them back again.
So $135 billion. That's how much it cost. They were supposed to save $2 trillion. A figure later revised down to $150 billion. But then it didn't save anything at all. In fact, it actually cost $135 billion.
Yeah.
Because of expenses due to mass layoffs, lost productivity, contract termination issues, court cases, getting taken to court by all these different unions and workers who shouldn't have been sacked, but they were. So, total savings, nil. Tinkanator, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. Tragically, it no longer matters who replaces Starmer. The issues run much deeper than who is in number 10. The accelerating decline of our liberal democracies will ensure demagogues like Farage will win power.
I don't agree.
I think there's
I think people
a kickback.
see. I mean, I'm not saying I've got faith that the British public will see what's going on with Trump and go, we don't want anyone like him. That may not happen, but it may happen. I don't think people want what's happening in America here. It does require people to know what's happening in America to a rough degree, but for every time Trump insults us and offends our basic sensibilities, or just makes people remember, how did the right wing, get people on board all the time? It's by bypassing their rational thought centers, by triggering fear. They trigger fear. Well, I would have argued that a lot of people are going to be quite frightened of what America can do. Where's the sovereignty argument if we're just going to be a vassal state of America? We might end up with Nigel Farage in charge. Obviously, it'd be mad to say otherwise at the moment.
Yeah.
But few things can happen over the next few years. Trump's not going to get any better. And MAGA, let's say his brain gives up the ghost, which again, I've seen psychiatrists saying they don't see how his brain can last the term
already.
But
he's looking very ill. He's looking very discombobulated.
But even Vance is going to double down on a lot of the same things. He might just do it a bit more coherently. None of this is the EU is looking like a safer and safer bet. Labour, in fact, I was reading an article. I've lost it now.
Why are you looking for that article? Can I just say
I'm not
thank
going
you
to look for it now. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Okay, you can do that anyway.
Martin, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. One step closer to Diz's cliff edge. And also, Viper Scott, thank you so much to make Diz happy to get her fix. And a bit confetti there, which means that we have triggered the confetti. Everyone, thanks everybody who chipped in today. And to ensure that Diz got her confetti fix. So thank you very much for that. And okay, so onwards. What are we talking about? You read an article. Tell me.
It's about, again, Labour's moves to get close to the EU, much closer to the EU. Now, from my point of view, from the outside, it all looks largely in line with what Labour said they were going to do. We're going to move a lot closer. We're not going to be joining the customs union single market or anything like that. Not going to move freedom of movement. And that's all still the case. So from my point of view, we're still trying to remove those trade barriers without crossing those red lines at the moment. Whereas I read in this report where it was talking about Peter Cowell. So Lib Dems are accusing Peter Cowell of contradicting himself. He hasn't actually contradicted himself. So he was saying in a recent interview that the customs union is not the answer to our problems because it would take too long to negotiate.
Yeah.
And then he said at Davos that Britain would be mad not to look at a customs union. So, well, that's a bit of a contradiction. No, it's not, because he's saying that's for later. So he's saying that the long term, although Starmer has said will not ever join customs union, he's saying, look, we would obviously be mad not to consider it, but it will take many years to negotiate. So it's not, and it's not going to be something that solves any problem before the election.
Yeah.
But in the article at the end of it, it described an EU official as saying that from their point of view, Labour are way more positive about what we can do together now.
Yeah.
So that's interesting because that's the internal view. So because I always thought to myself, well, we're still doing the same thing. We're still trying to tear down these trade barriers where we can without crossing those red lines. That's still the case now. But obviously, in terms of the detailed conversations that are going on behind closed doors, the EU are getting the impression that Labour are actually wanting to move much further and faster.
Yeah,
they describe it as completely different. We've got a much more positive attitude now. So, and that will be caused by Trump as well. And I think that will also reflect a lot of public opinion that Europe is going to look safer than America. If we're forced to choose between America and Europe, and Trump seems to be, do you want to be our slave or do you want to be Europe's partner? I think a lot of people in this country, if it's put to them in those terms, they're going to go, we'd rather be Europe's partner.
Well, you'd hope
and
so.
And people like Canada. Canada's all, Mark Carney has been really pushing this idea. And it's remarkable from Canada because Canada is America's closest trading partner.
Yes.
I mean, like we said all through the Brexit years, geography matters. So for Carney to say, we don't want to be reliant on America anymore is a very big deal.
Yeah, that was a fantastic speech he made this week. I really recommend, if you've not seen it, to check it out. Go and look it up on YouTube. It is, I mean, it's really, really, really good. Ned is saying Trump kicking the bucket can make things worse. A lot of people assume the nightmare is over, but that's all happened. Trump has been replaced with someone else who knows how to be subtle. I disagree. I think that Trump is a cult leader. The people who follow him, it's the same with Farage. When Farage wasn't the leader of Refuck, they were nowhere in the polls. When Farage left UKIP, they were nowhere. He left them in the lurch. The people weren't voting for them anymore. I think you've got these personality cults that are built around these individuals, and once those individuals are out of the way, it's kind of very difficult for someone to steal their thunder. And one of the things that right-wing authoritarian strongmen do all over the world, it's just a bit of a mistake, they surround themselves with incompetence, because they don't want anyone to be competent to come and challenge them.
Yeah, do you know what it's called?
George Lucas
word
syndrome.
for it. No, it's called kakistocracy.
The ruling by the shit.
Basically, yeah. When the people appointed to these senior positions are appointed based on loyalty, not competence.
Yeah.
Now you might get some competent, loyal people, but you often don't.
Yeah.
But no, I don't fully agree with that. I don't know who would be worse. What I do know is JD Vance was handpicked not by Trump. He was picked to replace Trump.
Yes.
And not necessarily at the end of Trump's second term.
Yeah.
So there is a succession plan that's already in the works. Turning Point USA are fully behind Vance.
Well, they don't need a succession plan. He becomes president. As soon as Trump's out the way, he becomes president.
Yeah. But what I mean is he was chosen for that role.
Yeah.
By others, not by Trump.
Yeah.
By others.
Yeah. I think you're right. But I mean, he cannot ever.
He doesn't have the same charisma at all.
Loyalty.
No, but again, does it matter?
Yes, it does. It really does. Because people vote for Trump. They're not voting for the Republicans.
What if voting don't matter?
You've seen that all over the midterm, well, not the midterms, the special elections and things like that they're having all over America.
Yeah.
Like people that aren't particularly voting for, the Republicans, they'll turn out to vote for Trump.
Yes, yeah. But what happens? I mean, we've both read the article recently, but it's also there's a few things in there that are a little bit far-fetched. But by and large, we know that they're planning for this. Trump himself said 2024. To those votes, very famous video of where he says you have to vote for me one more time. You don't have to do it. Yeah. And he didn't say you don't have to vote for me again. That was obvious. He said you don't have to vote again.
Yeah.
You will never have to vote again.
Yeah.
It'll all be done. I'll fix it, he said.
So
there's a plan. Now the plan may not work.
The article we're talking about, I'm just going to put it into the chat there. It's Trump has already rigged the 2028 presidential election. I'll be talking about this more on Sunday sermon.
Yeah, some of the things in there, they're missing some things out. But nonetheless, it does highlight just how many ways the Republicans have to basically steal the election. They came close in 2020. Remember, it was basically only because Mike Pence wasn't a dickhead ultimately.
Yeah. Well, he is a dickhead, but not that much.
At least he has. He's a principled dickhead.
Principled dickhead. Yeah, now it's full of unprincipled dickheads. Yes. Tinkanator, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. The worsening crisis of trust, inequality, state incapacity, division, and disinformation will ensure that our democracies decline, even if we get the occasional centralist, technocratic government like this one. I don't necessarily agree with that, because I think that there's always a reaction in politics, and people are looking at Trump, who is really extreme, and going, I don't want that for our country. We saw it last year with the elections in Australia and in Canada in particular, where the Liberals looked like they were on the ropes. They looked like they were going to get absolutely wiped out by the Conservatives in that last election. And then they changed the leader. Always a good idea just before an election. And they get Mark Carney in, and everyone's like, yes, we do not want Trump. We do not want Pierre Poilievre, do you know what I mean, running us.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened in Australia, where it looked like the Liberals in Australia are on the right, the Liberals in Canada are on the left. It's a bit confusing, but the Liberals in Australia are the Conservatives.
You can still come Conservative.
Yeah, the Conservatives got their asses kicked, and that's why it's a Labour government in Australia at the moment. Yeah. Got another super chat from Tinkanator. Thank you very much for the additional £10 note. Thank you. Without drastic change to the international system, sadly not happening, we will slide into illiberal oligarchy headed by increasing authoritarian demagogues. Worse people than Farage will succeed him.
It is happening, though. You just may not be reading about it. It is happening.
What do you
Whether
mean?
it's
What's
happening
happening?
quickly enough, diversifying. Remember, as soon as we, just like Canada, Mark Carney was very open about it, but Europe are also doing it and the UK is also doing it. By diversifying our reliance away from America, it becomes easier to say, yeah, we don't really like the fact that these social media companies are pumping out hate, so we're just going to block them, right?
Yeah.
At the moment, very difficult because we get hit with trade sanctions, but we're trying to move to the point where it'll be like, oh, we'll hit you with tariffs. All right, then.
Yeah.
That's basically the idea, to diversify trade. A bit like with Brazil. I mean, what does, they'd already effectively done it. What
Yeah.
does, Trump hits Brazil with ridiculous cartoonish tariffs. They go, all right, we'll just sell more to China.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently, there's a new social media platform to compete with X. It's going to be called W.
Yeah.
Which is going to be EU led. Well, it's going to be based in the EU.
I was joking. The W could stand for wanker. So they could say to Elon Musk every time he goes past. He was at Davos yesterday.
He was.
Every time he goes past, you go wanker.
Wanker.
You're going to be using wanker, Musk.
Yeah, a group of 54 MEPs this week said that the EU should support initiatives to develop European social media alternatives to platforms like X.
Well,
couldn't agree more.
They are right. Again, I did a video on this. Not. It's annoying that not enough people know this. The UK and France. There was a big announcement last week because the newspaper couldn't be asked to report on it. But there was a huge thing. Agreement. Technically, the startings of it, to be fair, came under Rishi Sunak, but Labour really powered it up last week. Yeah. So there's this project between the UK and France to develop ethical AI. And the idea is we can't just say to these American tech companies, oh, cool, we're just going to block your stuff, we're not going to use your stuff, because we need it, right?
Yeah.
If we're going to advance our economies, we need these tools. But if we can develop our own, the idea is, and the EU has wanted to do this for a few years, we are playing catch up. I mean, that's a problem.
Yes.
But
no, actually, is it a problem though? Is it? Because, sorry, I know.
But it is at the moment.
People are looking for an alternative. Look how fast people moved from MySpace over to Facebook when they were given the alternative.
Yeah.
And I think people would, and I think we're primed for it, and something that gets us away from the adverts, the enshittification. They've made these platforms so fucking unusable and putting adverts and AI into absolutely everything. Having a new platform that feels like it's not being controlled by the White House would be quite nice.
But this is it's not a social media platform they're developing, it's actual AI tools that have the proper guardrails. It's like ethical AI. And France and the UK are developing it jointly.
Yeah.
It's just that they've only just fucking started a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, that's so we are making moves. People, they're not widely reported, but there are things there. Again, whether they're timely enough, I cannot say. I'm not a tech expert. But all of these problems that we think we have, governments are alive to them. Now, again, whether they're doing enough, I'm not expert enough to comment. But there are things that we are doing. We're not ignoring it. We're not sticking our heads in the sand. We are doing
Which comes on to Tinkernator's next super chat. Thank you so much, Tinkernator. Really, really kind of you. Tinkernator and Goose have been very, very generous today. It's not hopeless, but this will be a long-term fight. This will get worse before it gets better, and it will only improve if the left rethinks their strategy. Our current approach isn't going anywhere.
Sorry, I'm sorry. If you're going to say that our future is dependent upon the left deciding to abandon tribalism, then we may be in trouble. we have to accept. I think
we can abandon America to the degree that we can, and I think that there's going to be more and more. If Trump is going to come out with stuff denigrating the soldiers who gave their lives fighting alongside the Americans
for America to defend
for America's daft foreign military adventures. I think that more and more people are going to go, I want to boycott America. How can I stick one to America? And one of the things that I was going to say about the enshittification of everything, it's all American companies. And so if you start saying, well, it's not just that America is shit. Their products are shit. Their Netflix is shit. Their Amazon is shit. That and that could actually change it. And the other thing is, you say, well, we're Johnny come lately. We've actually been in this country for nearly 200 years. We've been playing second fiddle, or maybe 150 years, playing second fiddle when it comes to trains around the world because we were the first ones to put them in. And once they were put in, they were harder to tinker with because there's people using the fucking train lines. Whereas countries that never had any train lines to start with managed to build these amazing networks, which we can't really do because the places where the train lines, the most sensible place to put them, there's already a fucking train line there. So it's not always the best to be first with a new technology. Sometimes it's best to sit back, watch someone else make all the mistakes, spend all the money, spend all the venture capital. So, and then just turn up and, copy and paste the code.
Talking about boycotts though, do you know in Denmark at the moment, what is the most popular app right now? You don't have to name it, but what sort of app is it? No, not Spotify. It's not a famous app. I don't even know the name of the app. I just know what it does. What would you think right now would be the most popular app in Denmark? What job would it do?
Tells people what's an American product, maybe?
So they can boycott American products. So it's an app that tells them which products are American.
Brilliant.
Which is a bit of a shame. I like to be a bit more discerning with boycotts because not all American companies are bad.
But they've got the power over the presidency. At the end of the day, it's all money. It's all capitalism. If they see their profits going down,
yes, this is true.
It means they turn up, right? So it's not just if their profits don't rise each year, if it just goes down by 1%, they're not going to cry about the little bit of profit they're not making. It's more to do with the market, especially the publicly floated company, who then look at those profit forecasts and go, "Oh, you've made a slightly smaller profit this year, Coca-Cola or whatever. We're going to sell our stocks in you." And that's where it really hurts them because they'll invest in something else.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it was Walmart and Target that went to Trump over the Chinese tariffs and basically said, your MAGA rubes are going to end up with empty shelves when they come shopping. Do you want that on your conscience?
Yeah.
There's no room for anything like that on his conscience. It's too small.
MZ is saying Thiel et al. Heavily invested in Vance and urging Trump towards amassing real estate to privately build network states in remote parts of the world, thus the impetus on Greenland. The Greenland thing. The person pushing the whole Greenland thing is a Nepo baby to the Estee Lauder fucking empire. Like, seriously? Just don't use their fucking perfume or medicines or whatever the fuck they sell. Paul says, from what I've read, the W platform is being designed around robust tools to block bots and verification of users. That's good. Ned says, people are now also used to paying subs for internet services. It's mad, but social media either has to be subsidized by tax or paid for by subs. Free social media is paid for with influence. It's paid for by clicks. And this is a big problem. We keep talking about this. The truth is hidden behind the paywall. Investigative journalism, medical research, scientific research, hidden behind the paywall. Bullshit, conspiracy theories, propaganda, hate, clickbait, free. Free at the point of delivery for everyone who wants to eat it. And God, people love to gobble it up. Have you seen this, Graham? Send me a fucking a meme of something that's not true.
Right, like someone coming up as well. Someone my wife knows. But they were coming up with this. Someone mentioned it in one of my streams last week as well. Like this thing about, they're raising the age of conscription in the UK. It's disgraceful. And like, we don't have conscription. And I found it was a Daily Express headline.
What? They're raising the age of conscription?
Yeah, we don't
have
what? Conscription.
What? Exactly. To what? 65,
67,
like
67 they reckon.
67, conscription.
And then it's this classic Daily Express headline. So it's a headline, right? And that goes out to everyone. No one reads it. In the very first line of the article, it explains they're talking about reservists who volunteer.
Yeah.
So it's not conscripts. We don't have conscripts. We haven't had conscripts since before I was born. Long before I was born.
Yeah.
But that's how, thick people are. People will say this and they know we don't have conscription in this country. And yet they will, that's the power of this bullshit.
Yeah.
Like everyone know this person, by the way, I'm not going to say who it was, but they were an older person, not like doolally, but they were old enough to know we don't have conscription in this country. They weren't a child.
Yeah.
And yet they go, it's disgraceful. Keir Starmer's raising the age of the age of conscription.
Yeah.
What? We don't have it. It's not a thing.
But this is it as well. Like I genuinely believe that like one of the reasons why people moved from MySpace over to Facebook is Facebook was so clean compared with MySpace, where everyone could do whatever they wanted with their pages. So they had music that would play when you went to it. It was all cluttered. It had the gaudy, really horrible backgrounds that stung your eyes by looking at them. And same with Google Chrome as well. When Google Chrome came out and basically replaced Microsoft Internet Browser, it was because Microsoft Internet Browser was just covered in pop-ups and shit and nonsense.
Yeah.
And you couldn't get to the actual information that you wanted. And Google Chrome was a nice clean version of that. Now, because of enshittification, Facebook is now where MySpace was 20 years ago. And,
it's not
arguably
that bad.
Google, you ask Google a fucking question and oh my God, is it so hard to get the fucking answer now? Like someone needs to make a new one where it doesn't go, here's your AI Outlook or whatever it's called. And it tells you the wrong thing. Then it gives you a link to a load of videos. I want to watch your fucking video. I want to know which way this thing turns. This thing on that kabobble over there. I want to know which way it turns. And I've got to watch a video which has got 3 adverts on before I can watch the video. And then like at 1 minute 23 after they told you the life story, they get to say, oh, and it turns to the left. And you're like, oh, thank you. It's shite.
I think it's much better Google. The good thing about the Google AI as well, it can tell you wrong things. All AI can. But it does at least give you sources that you can click on. Not all AIs do. They'll just say, oh, there's this thing. It's like, okay, can you show me where you got that from? No.
I just made it up. Urbane Legends, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Corey Doctorow did a talk where he pointed out the only reason Europeans haven't jailbroken US tech is because we didn't want the higher tariffs, but now ...
Yeah. Well, there's various tools we have.
American IP in a lot of cases that isn't registered in Europe.
Well, honestly, yeah. I mean, the anti-coercion instrument has a few very, very fun tools in it if Europe ever felt the need to use it.
That IP one is amazing.
There's several that are really good, but that's the biggest. That's easily that would be honestly the way I describe that is that would make Trump's testicles withdrawn to his body.
Ugh, don't want to think about Trump's testicles, but yeah,
he wouldn't have any. He wouldn't have any if Europe.
I don't know if you'd understand what was going on. It'd just be like wandering around on stage going, Dennis. Anyway, Phil, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. We're gonna have to call it, we're gonna have to call it a day. I'll be back at 10 o'clock tonight after the Traitors final. So a bit later than normal for the Friday night social. Phil's back tomorrow at 7 o'clock, aren't you, on your channel? Yes. A different bias for Phil's Saturday night live show. You're going to be playing any video games? Are you going to be playing video games? We've had the question.
I do that on Twitch.
Is that
I do that on Twitch, and I've been having problems with that. Yeah. So I'm having to play a different game next Monday, but that's on Twitch.
God damn it. Okay. Well, follow Phil. Are you a different bias on Twitch as well?
Politics Phil on that.
Politics Phil.
Just to be awkward.
Okay, so if you want to follow Phil on those channels, you're very welcome to do so. Phil, have a great weekend. Everyone watching this, have a great weekend. Thank you so much for the super chats. It's really, really, really kind of you. Please give us a like on the way out. We always like a like here on Politics Social. And until 10 o'clock tonight, when I hope to see you again, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.